Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. In this video, I'll be showing you how to use the image function in Excel. Now the image function allows you to insert images into your cells from a URL. This can be a great way to visually enhance your spreadsheets and make them more informative. So through the video, I'm going to be showing you the basics of using the image function and also how to use the optional arguments that are included in this function. Now for the image function to work, the image you want needs to be hosted on the web. So if you find an image you like, right-click on it and click to copy the image address, you should be able to copy a link that looks a little bit like this one. So we're going to show you the basics first. We're going to type equals image, open our brackets, and the source is this URL. Now you can paste the URL in directly, or you can put it in another cell and simply reference that cell. So we'll do that. Now this is actually the only parameter that you need with your image function. So you can simply hit enter and you can see that it's put in our image here. And if we expand this out, the image will increase to fit the width of the cell. And this brings me on to some of my optional arguments. So the second one is your alternative text. Now this is essentially alternative text that describes the image and can help with things like accessibility. You may not want to bother using this. The next one is your size. So by default, if you leave this blank, it will default to the 0, which is fit cell. So essentially, it will maintain the aspect ratio of your image, but it will fit it either by width or by height, whichever one's greater. If you select 1, it will fill the cell with the image, ignoring its aspect ratio. So let's just try that for a second. So you can see it's warped my image slightly. 2 will put in the original size of the image. This might ignore the cell boundary. So if we hit enter, you'll only see a very tiny part of my image because the image is a lot larger than the cell. And the final option here, 3, is to determine a custom size. So we'll put in 3 and then use a height and a width in the next arguments. We're able to set a custom height or width of the image in pixels. Word of caution with these, obviously if you use them, it will be ignoring the aspect ratio of your image, which could warp it slightly. I would say for images, you're probably better to either leave this blank or just go with 0. And that will maintain the aspect ratio. If I make this wider, you'll see that it fills the cell a little bit more. If you've got URLs in like this, you can just drag your formula down and it will fill in the images from these specific URLs. Now, an example of one way that you might want to use the fill the cell option might be with flags. So say you have a workbook where you've got lots of different countries and you want to include their flags in another column. You would probably want them all to be the same size and to fill the cell. So you would use the option 1 in this instance. And you can see there it's expanded the flag out to fill the cell. And if I change it, that just changes along with the cell. Now you don't have to have your URL in a separate tab. You can cut it out here, and instead of the cell reference in here, we can put it into the first option. Now, word of caution here, we do need to wrap this up in inverted commas, hit enter, and you can see it's done the exact same thing as referencing the cell with the URL in it. Just to note that the URL limit in the formula itself is limited to 255 characters. So if you're doing it this way and this URL is longer than that 255, it won't work and you'll get an error, in which case you're better off copying it into another cell and linking to that instead. So some potential uses of the image function might be where you want to point to particular images, maybe on your website. As I suggested, in the workbook, you might want to make it a bit more dynamic and include country flags. So you could be pointing to a website such as this countryflags.com, or you might want to be putting in some custom icons using some images from an alternative website. Are there any particular uses that you might use the image function for? Do let me know in a comment. So thanks for watching this brief introduction to the image function. If you have any questions, please do leave me a comment below. Also be sure to subscribe to my channel for more Excel tutorials.